Hi, everyone. My name is Jack,
My name's Shalemi.
and this show doesn't have a name yet, but we'll call it the Jack and Shalemi Show for now. We'll let you
Mm-hmm.
know when we've got a better name. I'm thinking Oompa Loompa and the Jew is a good idea, but we'll see.
Ooh, that's a good
We'll
one.
see
I
what
like that one.
happens. Yeah. And so the basic premise of this show is the two of us are bestest of friends, and we're, you know, idiots, but we love to have fun and we love to chat about things, especially sports. So this is just going to be us talking about different topics. And today we've got our first topic. We each came in with our list of our favorite sports movies, divided by sport. And so we're going to see where we agree, where we disagree. And I'm sure most people who watch this, if there are any, are going to hate us by the end because they're going to disagree
Of
with all of
course.
our choices. But
That's
that's
the fun
fun.
part.
Shalemi, what sport should we start with?
Um, let's do baseball to start with.
Do baseball. I mean,
Some classics.
let me say to start
Classic.
here, baseball, you don't have to say that that the best baseball movie might not be the best sports movie, but you
Mm-hmm.
can't tell me that baseball doesn't have the most and overall the best sports movie.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like when I was looking at all the stuff, like to see what some of the best movies were, it was just by far baseball. It was just like I knew most of the baseball movies. Like when I was looking at the hockey and basketball, I was grasping at straws.
Yeah.
I was like, what movie do I know even?
Definitely, definitely. And so we'll see if people agree with our baseball choices. Should I go first?
Sure.
All right, cool. And to the audience that you guys know, I have honorable mentions, and if you are mad at my top three, because we only got three, and that was hard.
Yeah, that was
I
definitely
have them written down in my
totally.
honorable mentions. We'll talk about all of them, even if they're not in either of our top threes. All right, so number three for me, Jack, my third top baseball movie of all time is A League of Their Own. A League of Their Own, it's a different perspective. Obviously, it's about women in baseball. It's a good historical movie. It's funny. There's just a lot to it. We can get into more in a bit, but it's just an all-around legendary movie. My number two on my list is Major League. It's a comedy. It's a classic baseball movie. It's great. And this is where people are going to get mad at me. And because I think very few people have this as a number one. I'll admit there's some bias here. My number one baseball movie of all time is Bull Durham. I'll admit there's catcher bias.
Bull
Bull Durham is about a catcher, and I am a catcher, and I love the movie. Can I defend Bull Durham real quick?
Sure.
I'm going to make a plea to the audience.
Okay.
I recognize this not everyone's favorite, and that people are mad at me for The Sandlot. I'm going to recognize that. Just because I said that, don't keep Bull Durham like out of your minds. Don't hate me. Bull Durham is, first of all, it's really funny. Secondly, of all the movies on the list, it's up there in the top three of the most honest sports movies. It's about a minor league player who's been in the minor leagues forever, and he's a catcher, and he's bringing up this new pitcher named Zook, who's like or Nuke, I think, who's like coming up. He's a young player. He's a young superstar. He's definitely on his way to the majors, but he's making a stop in Double-A. And it's like very, very honest movie. But it's also like, it's funny, but it's like they capture the conversations on the mound between catchers and pitchers in the infield. I mean, if you haven't seen it in the scene, he's basically they're talking about what's wrong with him. And then the first baseman comes in. He's like this Dominican guy. He's like, man, there's a curse on my glove. And then the shortstop comes in and he's like, one of the players is getting married. And they're like, what do we get him as a wedding gift? So it's just a really funny, like, honest look at baseball. And I think just in general, you've got a romantic aspect to it, which is like fine, but it's good. It adds to it. So that's just my thing. If you haven't seen Bull Durham, I'm not saying it has to be the number one, but I really love it. So that's why I think people should appreciate it more.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that one bit. Anyway, so for me, number three, I got 42, Jackie Robinson.
It's a classic.
Great movie, amazing story. Not much else to say about it. I love that movie. Okay, so number two, I got Moneyball, Brad Pitt, Jonah Hill. Another great story. It's historical, but like interesting perspective behind the scenes, kind of seeing like all this shit, like how like the smaller teams actually try to compete with the bigger ones. Like, kind of like a great like underdog story type of thing. He's always great in sports movies.
It's a good one.
And then for me, number one, like the classic, The Sandlot. Like
The
Come on,
Sandlot. It's
guys.
good. It's
Yeah,
good.
The
No, I know.
Sandlot. For me, like that's
Listen,
why I'm like, if I think of a baseball like movie, it's The Sandlot. Like, come
yeah.
on.
Listen, I knew I was gonna get hate for not having The Sandlot in my top
You
three.
didn't
I
have your top
recognize that.
three. I thought it was
I
your
didn't
number
have it in
one. I
my
was like,
top
okay, yeah, leave
three.
you there. No, I was like, damn.
No,
Yeah, fair
listen,
enough.
I am one of the few people in the world who like is meh about The Sandlot. I think
Man,
it's
about The
good.
Sandlot.
I think it's good, but it's not like legendary to me. It's not life changing to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think to be fair, like it's mainly like for like when you like see it like when you're younger, it's more of like like you like that's like the type of movie that you saw when you're younger and you grow up and you're like, oh, The Sandlot, like. But obviously, looking back upon it, when you're compared to like someone in League of Their Own, 42, the story doesn't hold up as much. But like it's still great. For me, it's classic.
Listen, I like it. I do like it. I'm not gonna say I don't like the movie, but
Yeah,
that was that. It
you
it
know,
it, ha- it hurt me to have to choose three movies. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
I'd say the movie that like first of all, Moneyball was the one I was most sad about leaving out. That was the
Moneyball,
one.
yeah.
Moneyball is like first on my honorable mention. I wrote
Mm-hmm.
my little notes like I'm mad that I had to leave Moneyball
Yeah,
out.
I like A
I
League
think
of Their
that's
Own too. When you see A League of Their Own, like that was one of the
right.
ones I was kind of thinking of too.
Yeah.
But kept that one out. That was a good
Most
one too.
underrated baseball movie, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
is Hardball. Have you seen Hardball? It's the
No, I
one
haven't.
where Keanu Reeves is the coach of an inner city team. And if you
Okay,
haven't seen it, you have to watch it. It's incredible. It's like
gotcha.
modern, like Bad News Bears, but there's more to it. It's less funny. Um,
Oh,
one of the
Bad News Bears. I forgot about
That's a
Bad
good
News
one.
Bears.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
But,
wait. Damn, I didn't
that's
even
no
think
Hardball. It's got one of the saddest scenes in any sports movie ever. Chalemi has you're not haven't seen it, so I'm not gonna say what happens.
of that.
But if you know, you know.